Chapter 1786, Deity Ocean, 3. The blue light formed a protective screen around him and the attack from the two great generals did absolutely no damage to it. All the attacks were absorbed by the blue screen. Ha, the Deity Ocean is really amazing. Don't worry, once I've absorbed all the power, it'll send you to hell immediately. The Heavenly Demon Tribe Great General looked at the screen surrounding him as his eagerness in obtaining the Deity Ocean rose. Just the light from the Deity Ocean was already giving him so much power. Once he absorbed all of its power, he would be their absolute king. The expressions of the great generals of the Earth Demon Tribe and the Earth Demon Tribe were extremely dark. Under the protection of the Deity Ocean, they couldn't do anything to the Heavenly Demon Tribe Great General. On the mountain peak, the demons from the Heavenly Demon Tribe all roared as they saw that their great general was about to merge with the Deity Ocean. The demons from the other tribes panicked as they saw this. They were a step too late again. But just as the Heavenly Demon Tribe Great General was about to absorb the Deity Ocean proudly, the Deity Ocean pressed against his chest emanated a powerful wave. The Heavenly Demon Tribe Great General was pushed back by the wave. All of the strands of power he had absorbed from the Deity Ocean dissipated as well. What? The Heavenly Demon Tribe Great General looked down at the Deity Ocean in his hands in disbelief. He couldn't absorb the power of the Deity Ocean. He couldn't believe it and tried again, but the rejection was even stronger this time and the Heavenly Demon Tribe Great General spat out a mouthful of blood. The protective screen around him vanished. How could this be? Why couldn't he absorb the power of the Deity Ocean? The two generals who had already begun to despair suddenly brightened. They rushed towards the Heavenly Demon Tribe Great General again. The Deity Ocean doesn't want to be used by you. Ha, don't even dream of using its power. The Great General laughed coldly as he hit the Heavenly Demon Tribe Great General on the shoulder. Enraged, the Heavenly Demon Tribe Great General returned blows, swift and hard. Caught up in the scuffle, the Deity Ocean in his hand fell towards the mountain peak. Seeing the Deity Ocean belong to no one again, the demons under the mountain peak all surged towards it frantically. Get that Deity Ocean back, the Earth Demon Tribe Great General roared as he flew towards the Deity Ocean. The Great General of the Heavenly Demon Tribe and Emperor Demon Tribe didn't want to lose this opportunity as well and rushed towards the Deity Ocean. Once again, the mountain fell into chaos as all the demons coveted the Deity Ocean. The battle which had stopped temporarily restarted even bloodier and crazier. As the Deity Ocean fell towards the chaos, who jumped nimbly over the crowd of demons, grabbed the Deity Ocean from midair and quickly flew off. The Deity Ocean is with him. Catch him. The Heavenly Demon Tribe roared loudly after having lost the Deity Ocean so painfully. When the demons from the eastern camp saw that someone on their side had obtained the Deity Ocean, they fought every demon that wanted to get it to the death. The Heavenly Demon Tribe Great General and other demons flung the resistance aside and chased right after them. Yi Qing Tang was hiding safely on the side of the mountain peak. Hearing someone cursing and hollering loudly, she peeked out and saw Hu flying towards her quickly with something in his arms. Chapter 1787, It is all a misunderstanding. 1. Yi Qing Tang's eyes widened as she saw the approaching Hu. She could feel that the thing Hu had in his arms was actually the Deity Ocean. Yi Qing Tang felt like her head was about to explode. The three elite tribes were so powerful. Wasn't the eastern camp being too stubborn? How did they dare steal the Deity Ocean from right under their noses? Even if that were the case, Yi Qing Tang knew that all the demons were obsessed with the Deity Ocean. All the tribes, regardless of their strength, were swarming into battle. But as far as Yi Qing Tang was concerned, this gamble was too risky. She had no intention of participating in this battle. With her skill, she would be pretty decent among the youth in the First Mainland, but among these Emperor-level demons, she was nothing. Yi Qing Tang was speechless. She was about to stick her head back in and avoid this deathly situation when Hu, who was running away frantically, spotted her. Hu, who was being chased all the way by the great general of the three elite tribes, was running for his life, but the distance between him and the great generals were closing and his heart was full of panic. But the moment he spotted Yi Qingtang, his eyes lit up slightly and a hint of a smile appeared at the corner of his lips. It was impossible for him to shake off the demons chasing him, but now that he had the deity ocean with him, he wasn't going to give it up so easily. Yi Qingtang's appearance gave him a chance to turn the tables. When she saw his smile, Yi Qingtang felt a sense of foreboding. Before she could even respond, Hu was flying straight toward her hiding place. As Hu flew past her, he sneakily slung the deity ocean towards Yi Qingtang. He moved extremely quickly and this went undetected. After throwing the deity ocean to her, he used his energy to create a trail of blue light mimicking the deity ocean and continued flying. In an instant, countless demons chasing Hu flew by Yi Qingtang. These demons had no idea that Hu had thrown it to Yi Qingtang, who was hiding in the dark, and continued chasing after Hu, thinking that he still had the deity ocean. Yi Qingtang looked on as Hu's sleight of hand fooled the other demons. She turned pale as she looked at the roaring great generals. Once the demons' footsteps had faded, she lowered her head. Wasn't the thing in her arms the deity ocean all the tribes were fighting tooth and nail for? What the hell? How had it gotten into her arms? Yi Qingtang cursed Hu silently in her heart. All she wanted to do was to survive this battle silently. Why did this darn thing have to land in her hands? Recalling Hu's cautious expression before he flew off, he must have meant for her to hide the deity ocean well. Yi Qingtang wanted to cry. This deity ocean was going to be the death of her. She understood how badly the demons wanted the deity ocean, but... Who? You gave this to the wrong person. Yi Qingtang's strength was less than peanuts in the eyes of these demons. She would get caught the moment she left the cave. She could forget about even escaping. At this moment, the deity ocean was like a hot potato. She could neither throw it away nor keep it with her. She wanted to try stuffing the deity ocean into her space ring, but... Chapter 1788, It is all a misunderstanding. 2. It was completely impossible. The deity ocean seemed to possess a tremendous power. Yi Qingtang had just put it in and already felt like her space ring was going to explode. She was so shocked that she quickly took out the deity ocean. Faced with this situation, Yi Qingtang was feeling very distressed. You are a rather clever little ant. You knew to immediately transfer the item away. Luckily, I have already memorized the deity ocean's scent. Just as Yi Qingtang was feeling extremely desperate, a cold voice suddenly sounded from somewhere behind her. Yi Qingtang turned and saw the grim face of the heavenly demon race's great general. He was standing nearby, his malevolent eyes narrowed and staring straight at the deity ocean in her hands. Shit! She had been discovered so quickly. And by the great general of the heavenly demon race. In the blink of an eye, Yi Qingtang flew away with the deity ocean in hand. If she had known that Hu had stolen the deity ocean, she would never have sneaked a peek. Yi Qingtang used all her power to flee as fast as she could. But no matter how fast she flew, she was no match for the great general of the heavenly demon race. In just a few breaths, the great general of the heavenly demon race landed right in front of Yi Qingtang, and Yi Qingtang was forced into an emergency stop. Beads of cold sweat dripped down from Yi Qingtang's forehead. The heavenly demon race's great general appeared emotionless. He was staring at the deity ocean and could clearly feel that Yi Qingtang's powers were far below his. Hand me the deity ocean. It's not something that should be touched by trash like you, the great general of the heavenly demon race stated coldly. Yi Qingtang's back was already drenched in cold sweat. Her heart was pounding heavily as she stared at the great general. Trash. She never wanted to touch this stupid deity ocean in the first place. Although she was offended by the great general's disdainful words, Yi Qingtang still had some common sense. She did not want to throw her own life away just for this deity ocean. Anyway, she was no match at all for this great general. Yi Qingtang immediately handed the deity ocean over. She said respectfully, I have heard many stories about your great powers and have admired you since a long time ago. You are naturally the only one who is worthy enough to own this deity ocean. Humph. The great general of the heavenly demon race snorted in contempt, oblivious toward Yi Qingtang's praises. He only had eyes for the deity ocean. Everything else was insignificant. Good that you have some common sense. Give me the deity ocean and I will let you die in one piece, the heavenly demon race's great general stated arrogantly. It was as if letting her die in one piece was already very magnanimous of him. Shit! I am already handing this thing to you. Why do you still have to kill me? As Yi Qingtang cursed the great general on the inside, she shifted her gaze to the side, all prepared to throw the deity ocean far away in order to divert the great general's attention, so that she had a chance to escape. She believed that compared to killing her, the heavenly demon race's great general would be more interested in getting the deity ocean. Meanwhile, Yi Qingtang was more interested in staying alive. She didn't care about the deity ocean at all. She would leave it to the fiendish demons to fight over it. Just as Yi Qingtang was raising her hand to toss it away, the deity ocean suddenly glowed very intensely. A dazzling beam of light shot right out of the deity ocean and created a large chasm in mid-air, from which a powerful magnetic force could be felt. Chapter 1789, It is all a misunderstanding. 3. Before Yi Qingtang could react, she was sucked right into the chasm with the deity ocean still in hand. As Yi Qingtang scanned the chasm and saw that there was another world beyond it. Could it be? This deity ocean could be used to pass through time and space. It could open up a gateway to another world. Yi Qingtang couldn't help recalling the earlier incident when she tried to place the deity ocean in her space ring. She heaved a big sigh of relief knowing that she was about to escape. Put down the deity ocean now or I will make sure you die a wretched death. The face of the heavenly demon race's great general instantly contorted into one of malevolence when he saw that Yi Qingtang was about to fly into the chasm with the deity ocean. Damn you! You want the deity ocean? Dream on. You will never have the deity ocean. Yi Qingtang finally dared to shout out her true thoughts when she saw that she was about to escape. The great general tried to pursue her but was blocked out by that beam of light. Let her die in one piece. He could stay here on his own. She couldn't care less about him. Do you wish to die? The great general's face was livid at her impudence. He leapt into the air and charged toward Yi Qingtang, furiously striking her with waves of demonic aura. But that power instantly dissipated the moment it made contact with that beam of light. Yi Qingtang, who had been a bit worried, was now incredibly jubilant. Great general of the heavenly demon race. You are very powerful, right? Try your best to hit me. You. The great general was completely enraged. No fiendish demon had ever dared to behave so audaciously before him. The heavenly demon race's great general immediately sent a barrage of strikes at Yi Qingtang, but none of them even got close to touching her. Not painful at all, Yi Qingtang piped up smugly. The great general was nearly puking blood in anger. No matter how he tried to attack, he was unable to hurt the escaping Yi Qingtang. That beam of light was an impenetrable barrier, offering Yi Qingtang complete protection. As angry as the great general was, he had no choice but to just watch on as Yi Qingtang disappeared into the chasm. The chasm immediately vanished the moment she entered, leaving only empty air in its wake. After entering the chasm, Yi Qingtang felt like the world around her was spinning. But in the next second, both of her feet landed on solid ground. She had to spend some time recovering her senses before she started to survey her surroundings. What met her eyes was one that was totally unfamiliar. It was very dark, but she could still vaguely make out her surroundings. This is, Yi Qingtang gazed about. She felt warm all over. She thought that the deity ocean had sent her back to the mountain valley outside of the sealed space. But it now seemed like it was a totally different place. The climate here was completely different from the frozen ice fields that Yi Qingtang had experienced. Even the air in the mountain valley had been chilly and thick with the demonic aura. But over here, she could not feel anything that was exceptionally strange. Don't tell me I have left that mystic realm. Yi Qingtang murmured to herself. She started to feel a sense of joy, but was immediately struck by the thought that she had left little white tiger all alone by the cave at the eastern demon camp. She had left little white tiger in that demon-filled land, as well as the still unconscious little heavenly demon. Chapter 1790, It is all a misunderstanding. 4. But before Yi Qingtang could ponder further what kind of place this was, the deity ocean in her hands suddenly emitted a strong light. Yi Qingtang felt the world spin and her line of sight become blurry. She could once again feel that familiar chilly air. In the next second, Yi Qingtang opened her eyes. After she managed to regain her bearings, she was stunned by what she saw. She had returned to the place where she was facing off with the great general of the heavenly demon race. The great general, whom she had angered earlier, was now just 5 meters away, glaring at her with a malevolent expression. What the hell? Why was she back? Damn trash. The great general of the heavenly demon race's voice was cold and full of bloodlust. Yi Qingtang was frozen to the ground. The cheeky words she had shouted at the great general now came back to haunt her. Ha! Was the deity ocean playing a trick on her? Misunderstanding, this is all a misunderstanding. Yi Qingtang was no longer able to smile. The great general snorted and walked toward Yi Qingtang with narrowed eyes. You were very happy insulting me earlier, right? Let's see if you can still hurl insults when I crush your bones and smash your brains in. Yi Qingtang broke out in cold sweat all over. The deity ocean had really done her in this time. Who dared to insult the great general? You must have truly misunderstood, Yi Qingtang said very sincerely. Didn't you say earlier that I will never have the deity ocean? And you asked me to dream on, the great general repeated her earlier words in a harsh voice. No, I said that even in my dreams, I also wish that the great general will obtain the deity ocean. Yi Qingtang was openly lying without any remorse. Ha! The great general clearly did not believe Yi Qingtang's cunning change of words. He narrowed his eyes and exuded waves of demonic aura. Didn't you say earlier that you didn't feel any pain at all when I attacked you? Let's see if you will feel any pain now. Of course I feel the pain. Just the sight of you is painful to me. Yi Qingtang gave a bitter smile. She was going to try her earlier trick of tossing the deity ocean away, so that she could make her escape. But when Yi Qingtang glanced down, she saw that her hands were completely empty. There was no sign of the deity ocean at all. Where did the deity ocean go? Yi Qingtang clearly remembered that she still had the deity ocean in her hands just before she was sent back to the great general. Why? Why had the deity ocean vanished now? Yi Qingtang was totally confused. It was her final chance at survival. How did it disappear just like that? It felt like her world was crashing down on her as she watched the demonic aura gathering in the hands of the great general. She was doomed. But the heavenly demon race's great general noticed that Yi Qingtang had glanced down at her hands. He followed her line of sight and saw that the deity ocean was missing. Then his face instantly turned dark. Where did you hide the deity ocean? Yi Qingtang, she really wanted to cry now. She also wished to know where the deity ocean was. If she told the great general that she had misplaced the deity ocean, there was no doubt that she would be dismembered. Even as she was on the brink of a mental collapse, Yi Qingtang didn't dare to speak the truth. She put on a calm face and told the great general. Want the great general just immediately kill me if I told you where I hid the deity ocean? Chapter 1791, It is all a misunderstanding. 5. Do you think that I will let you go just because you refuse to tell me? The heavenly demon race's great general snorted. He was the first fiendish demon to obtain the deity ocean, and was also the first fiendish demon to have tried merging with the deity ocean. As a result, he was exceptionally attuned to the scent of the deity ocean. Otherwise, he would not have detected the presence of the deity ocean despite Hu's tricks. The heavenly demon race's great general scanned Yi Qingtang with sharp eyes. His gaze was so sharp that it was like he wanted to slice off her flesh inch by inch. Do you think you can deceive me by hiding the deity ocean in your own body? Ha, do you think I won't be able to find the deity ocean after I peel off your skin and carve out your flesh? Yi Qingtang felt very maligned. When did she hide the deity ocean in her own body? Could this great general of the heavenly demon race not make such false accusations? How did the great general know I hid the deity ocean inside of me? If I hid the deity ocean in the space within the chasm earlier, you will never find the deity ocean if you kill me. Yi Qingtang continued to put on a brave front. Ha, you are still trying to deceive me. The great general narrowed his eyes and suddenly reached out toward Yi Qingtang. The heavenly demon race's great general was very fast and Yi Qingtang didn't have time to react. But just as this was happening, Yi Qingtang suddenly felt vibrations from the deity ocean. The source of those vibrations came from within her. In the face of danger, Yi Qingtang had no time to ponder what had happened. She just remembered the power of the deity ocean's vibrations earlier and immediately tried to make use of the power of these vibrations. In the next second, a beam of light shot out from Yi Qingtang's body. Within seconds, Yi Qingtang felt the earth spin again and she disappeared. Yi Qingtang was panting when she finally recovered from her dizziness. Scanning her surroundings, she realized that she had returned to that dark place from before. The ferocious, evil great general from the heavenly demon race was nowhere to be seen. Taking a deep breath to steady her pounding heart, Yi Qingtang stilled for a moment. But she remained very confused over what had happened. She had already found it very strange when that great general claimed the deity ocean was hidden inside her. When she had returned earlier, she had no idea where the deity ocean had disappeared to. Why was the great general so certain? But right at the brink of death, Yi Qingtang could feel the power of the deity ocean radiating from her own body. She couldn't help feeling very shocked. Moreover, when she utilized that power, she had returned to this place again. An inconceivable idea popped into Yi Qingtang's head. Don't tell me, the deity ocean has merged with me? Yi Qingtang murmured. This speculation was too scary to even consider. Why did the deity ocean merge with her? Yi Qingtang took this opportunity to carefully analyze all that happened earlier. Could this deity ocean be the power of a high-level spiritual abode? Yi Qingtang mulled over the whole incident before coming to a startling conclusion. Comparing the capabilities of the deity ocean with what Yi Qingtang understood about spiritual abodes, it seemed like the two were very similar. Previously, Yi Qingtang overheard Hu saying that the deity ocean had existed for tens of thousands of years but had never landed on that altar. No fiendish demon had ever obtained it either. Chapter 1792, It is all a misunderstanding. 6. This time, Yi Qingtang had accidentally fumbled her way into a great war between demons. Somehow, she had also been dragged into this sealed space. The deity ocean, which had never landed in tens of thousands of years, had miraculously descended on the altar this time. Not only that, the same deity ocean happened to land in her hands. After the power of the deity ocean was activated, it merged with her. Yi Qingtang could not be blamed for thinking this was not a coincidence at all. For over tens of thousands of years it had not landed on the altar. From what she had seen earlier, the heavenly demon race's great general had failed to merge with the deity ocean. Given these signs, Yi Qingtang couldn't help thinking there was more than met the eye. She was worried that the deity ocean was probably completely merged with her now after she activated it earlier. Nearly all had witnessed the sight of the heavenly demon race's great general trying to merge with the deity ocean and suffering a powerful backlash from the attempt. Meanwhile, the deity ocean had merged with her so easily. The fiendish demons had been referring to it as the deity ocean, but elsewhere, it was called a high-level spiritual abode. The more Yi Qingtang thought about it, the more her suspicions grew. Why did the deity ocean appear over here? More importantly, Why did this deity ocean choose to merge with her? If the deity ocean was a high-level spiritual abode, then it was clear why they had ended up entering this strange mystic realm. The imminent appearance of the deity ocean caused the distortion in the space-time continuum, which dragged the 10 of them into this mystic realm created by the deity ocean. Those trapped fighters from the second mainland had probably also entered the mystic realm when the deity ocean was about to emerge. They had been struck by the curse and ended up in a state worse than death. Also, the spiritual abode obtained by the first mainland's ancient Yu clan was probably similar to the deity ocean. However, Yu Qingtang could distinctly feel that the level of this deity ocean inside her was far above that of the ancient Yu clan's spiritual abode. Everything in this mystic realm had already far surpassed her knowledge of the world. Yu Qingtang finally understood why the fiendish demons all said that one could rule the world with the deity ocean. But there was a precondition: one had to be able to merge with the deity ocean. This was because the fiendish demons existed in a mystic realm that was part of the deity ocean. Possessing the deity ocean meant possessing all the power of the fiendish demons. One could make use of the deity ocean's ability to move through time and space, to step between worlds as and when one wished to. Yu Qingtang couldn't help gasping a little as she thought about all this. She never dreamed that she would one day merge with a high-level spiritual abode. But she had just grasped this point when the deity ocean inside her vibrated once again. That familiar feeling once again overcame her. Yu Qingtang only had time to utter a curse before the strong beam of light shot out again and sucked her right in. By the time Yu Qingtang came to, she could once again feel the howling cold winds brushing against her body. She was used to this situation now. Slowly, Yu Qingtang opened her eyes and as expected, she was looking at the familiar mountain peak. And the grim-faced great general of the heavenly demon race was standing a few meters away from her. His furious eyes seemed to be emitting sparks and his expression was darker than the underside of a burnt pot. Yu Qingtang, it seemed like even though she had merged with the deity ocean, she was unable to control it. Was the deity ocean displeased with her and so was making a fool out of her? What was it trying to do? Sending her back to the mouth of death again and again? It wasn't even her intention to merge with it. Chapter 1793, Stalemate. 1. The heavenly demon race's great general glanced over at where Yu Qingtang was, his expression turning complicated. He narrowed his eyes and swept his gaze over her. Cold sweat dripped soundlessly down Yu Qingtang's back as she looked at the heavenly demon race's great general. It seemed that even though she had merged with the deity ocean, she could only cross space for a short amount of time right now. And she couldn't stay too long after entering another space either. How strange. Even though the deity ocean could twist space and allow her to escape, it still wanted to return her to this mystic realm. Was it due to the cursed true god had left in this mystic realm? Yu Qingtang was beginning to develop more and more theories about the deity ocean, but she didn't have time to think about them. The heavenly demon race's great general finally opened his mouth and asked, "How is it that you can keep entering the twisted space?" The heavenly demon race's great general head was filled with questions. He had initially just wanted to kill this tiny little ant and get the deity ocean back, but was beginning to realize that things were getting weirder and weirder. Why could this piece of trash keep entering the twisted space? I don't know as well, Yu Qingtang steeled her nerves and replied. She didn't dare tell him that she had merged with the deity ocean. The heavenly demon race's great general was obviously unsatisfied with her answer and his expression darkened. Is it because of the deity ocean? Yu Qingtang's heart jumped slightly, but she continued to maintain her innocent expression. Impatience flashed across heavenly demon race's great general's face. Even if you refuse to admit it, the deity ocean is the only thing here that can cross space. It must be on you then. The heavenly demon race's great general raised his head slightly. He had already realized that even though Yu Qingtang could borrow the power of the deity ocean to cross space, the time she spent in the other space was short. As long as he kept an eye on her, she wouldn't be able to escape. If you hand the deity ocean over to me nicely, it'll make sure to give you a dignified death. But if you refuse, I'll make sure I rip you apart to dig it out of you." The heavenly demon race's great general narrowed his eyes as his voice became more menacing. "If I find out that you've merged with the deity ocean, I will devour you whole." Yi Qingtang shuddered, and without waiting for the heavenly demon race's great general to react, she gathered up all her strength and ran for her life. The heavenly demon race's great general had already made it clear that she was going to die either way, and it didn't matter whether she handed it over or not. If he found out that she had merged with the deity ocean, Yi Qingtang had no intention of ending up in a demon's stomach. "You're trying to escape?" "Humph." Seeing Yi Qingtang's rapidly escaping figure, the corners of his mouth curved into a cold smile as he leaped into the sky after her. Yi Qingtang had used all her strength on increasing her speed, but even though the distance between her and the heavenly demon race's great general had been vast, he quickly caught up in the blink of an eye. "You really are persistent." Yi Qingtang cursed. "Hand the deity ocean over." "Do you think I'm stupid? I'll die even faster if I hand it over." Yi Qingtang was extremely frustrated. If she had known that the formation of this deity ocean would bring her into this cursed mystic realm, she would have just stayed earnestly in the Jiang family valley and looked for clues to her mother another way. Chapter 1794, Stalemate, 2, You're Asking to Die. The heavenly demon race's great general was livid by Yi Qingtang's words and flew even faster, appearing right behind Yi Qingtang. When Yi Qingtang turned around to look and saw the heavenly demon race's great general reaching for her, in a panic, she activated the power of the deity ocean within her. The moment the powers of the deity ocean were awoken, Yi Qingtang's figure warped and vanished. Safe for the moment, Yi Qingtang let out a sigh of relief and looked at the other space she was in. Her head was about to explode. The heavenly demon race's great general had his eyes on her, so it didn't matter even if she could use the power of the deity ocean to cross space. She was going to return to her original location in a short while. Yi Qingtang was in despair. She had a feeling that the deity ocean was sending her back repeatedly because its will had not been fulfilled. "I wonder if you're saying, I have to destroy the bones of the cursed true god before I can leave this damned place." Yi Qingtang's head was about to burst. She had thought that merging with the deity ocean accidentally would allow her to finally leave this place, but she was back to square one. She couldn't count on the deity ocean. The only way to leave this damned place was to destroy the bones of the cursed true god. Yi Qingtang sighed heavily. As she felt the world spinning yet again, she rolled her eyes. She had to go back again. And as expected, after a wave of giddiness, Yi Qingtang was once again back on the mountain peak, and in front of her was the dark face of the heavenly demon race's great general. The heavenly demon race's great general smiled wickedly as he saw Yi Qingtang reappear, and he swiped at her. Yi Qingtang could only probe at the deity ocean's power once again and escape back into the other space. She vanished once again in front of his eyes. The heavenly demon race's great general was speechless. "Damn it! You little piece of trash, how dare you hide from me?" the heavenly demon race's great general roared. There was a short period of time when Yi Qingtang crossed space when she would experience giddiness due to the distortion in time and space when the deity ocean twisted space. But Yi Qingtang could still hear the angry roar of the heavenly demon race's great general. How dare she hide from him? Only a fool wouldn't. Unable to win against a fight with him and not able to escape from him, Yi Qingtang could only cross space again and again to escape him. She could feel the energy of the deity ocean being consumed every time she crossed space, and she could feel that the energy was being used up faster and faster as well. Even worse was that she realized that once the energy from the deity ocean faded, she would slow back down to the speed of a turtle. How long would she deity ocean hold out for? She had no idea and dreaded to find out. On the mountain peak, the face of the heavenly demon race's great general was getting darker and darker as his expressionless face fixated on the flickering Yi Qingtang. Every time he reached out and was about to crush the little piece of trash, she would slip sneakily into the other space. After countless times of her escaping, the heavenly demon race's great general's patience was running out, and the anger in his eyes intensified. He was about to go mad. Before she knew it, they had been in this stalemate for 2 to 3 days. Chapter 1795, Stalemate, 3, Heavenly Demon Race's Great General, what are you still doing here? Yi Qingtang said as she suddenly appeared in front of the Great General after escaping into the twisted space. After a few days of chaotic battling, the sealed space had come to a standstill. The demons who had been fighting for the deity ocean previously suddenly realized that it had already been taken by someone else and there was no trace of it left anywhere. Many demons had already left the sealed space. The Earth Demon Races and Emperor Demon Races' great generals had not given up yet and were still searching for it. Just as they were about to leave, they saw the Heavenly Demon Races' great general standing foolishly at the mountain peak, shouting at the air. Seeing his old rivals approach, the Heavenly Demon Race's great general hid the anger from his face and asked, "What? Have you two found the deity ocean?" The two of them had not found it and were going over to see if the Heavenly Demon Race's great general had the deity ocean, but it seemed like he was empty-handed as well. However, they didn't leave at once, both of them still suspicious of the Heavenly Demon Race's great general. They only started leaving slowly once they realized that there were no traces of the deity ocean on him. If only. Who knows where the deity ocean is now? It seems like the sealed space is about to close, so we're leaving soon, the Earth Demon Race's great general replied. The Heavenly Demon Race's great general stayed silent as his face remained sullen. The two other great generals found this amusing. Among the three of them, the one who felt the worst was definitely the Heavenly Demon Race's great general, who had the deity ocean right in his grasp and let it slip away. The two other great general wasted no more time talking and led their underlings off the mountain peak. The Heavenly Demon Race's great general's heart sank as he saw the other two great general leave with their demons. He had already roused the other two great generals' suspicions again. If he didn't obtain the deity ocean soon, troubles were going to follow. His already worn-out patience was now mixed with urgency. When Yi Qingtang appeared in front of the Heavenly Demon Race's great general again, he didn't rush to attack her. The great general's inaction only made Yi Qingtang more cautious. She prepared to cross space once again. Little rascal. The Heavenly Demon Race's great general suddenly spoke up, but in a gentler voice this time. This sealed space is about to close. We're not going to be able to leave this place if we continue on like this. Since you just want to leave here with your life and I just want the deity ocean and don't have time to mess with you, how about this? As long as you hand the deity ocean over to me, I'll let you leave your life. The Heavenly Demon Race's great general suddenly offered her another option. Yi Qingtang gave him a surprised expression, as though she was thinking of his offer, but she was crying inside. Where was she going to get a deity ocean for him? Also, Yi Qingtang was no fool. She didn't believe that the Heavenly Demon Race's great general was going to let her go after she handed the deity ocean over. But since the Heavenly Demon Race's great general wanted to negotiate, she would play along. The power of the deity ocean was draining fast and she was glad for any chance to rest. Chapter 1796, Escape, 1. Seeing that Yi Qingtang was willing to negotiate, the Heavenly Demon Race's face remained neutral but a glint appeared in his eyes. As Yi Qingtang pretended to lower her head in thought, the Heavenly Demon Race's great general began his attack violently. I knew you were up to no good. Yi Qingtang was already prepared and once again entered the twisted space with the help of the deity ocean. But this time, the Heavenly Demon Race's great general was already completely out of patience. Just before Yi Qingtang entered the twisted space, he swiped mercilessly in the direction she disappeared from. Yi Qingtang, who was still recovering from the dizziness of switching space, felt a violent shock reverberate around her. As she switched to the other space, she realized that under the constant attack of the Heavenly Demon Race's great general, the void energy in the connection point between the two spaces that she was using to enter the other space had taken a heavy blow. The attack destabilized the void energy and she wasn't able to enter the other space. Yi Qingtang broke out in cold sweat. The heavenly demon race's great general must be at his wit's end to have attempted to attack the void energy at the risk of losing his life. At this rate, she wouldn't be able to keep hiding from him. Yi Qingtang flickered back and forth between the sealed space and the twisted space. She was going to return to the mountain peak soon. She was sure that she would die if she returned to the mountain peak. The heavenly demon race's great general already knew how to prevent her from entering the other space. She wasn't going to be able to cross space in front of him again. What a cunning demon! Yi Qingtang gritted her teeth as a great sense of urgency overcame her. Just as Yi Qingtang was at the verge of being killed, she suddenly felt a surge of aura from the deity ocean fill her meridian points. Her urgency must have affected it. As the energy from the deity ocean entered her, she noticed her body flickering out of sight. Could it be? Could the deity ocean make her invisible? Under great danger, Yi Qingtang nudged the deity ocean as hard as she could and let its aura wash all over her. As expected, she vanished from sight. In the face of imminent death, Yi Qingtang was offered a lifeline. But Yi Qingtang didn't dare to act rashly. Even though this method of concealment wasn't a bad idea, the heavenly demon race's great general would still be able to sense her presence with his acute senses. Yi Qingtang could only force herself to calm down, and an idea popped into her mind. In the next second, under the incessant attack of the heavenly demon race's great general, the void energy was completely destabilized. Yi Qingtang exited the connection point in a hurry. As the heavenly demon race's great general saw Yi Qingtang appear, he sneered. Just as he got ready to slowly torture this little rascal to death, Yi Qingtang used all the energy she had to blast the mountain peak above his head. In an instant, the shattered rocks flew into the air and they were enveloped in a huge cloud of dust. Taking advantage of the chaos, Yi Qingtang reached into the deity ocean inside her and entered a state of focus. The heavenly demon race's great general raised his hands and swept a gust of wind towards the cloud of dust, laughing coldly at Yi Qingtang's futile struggle. But as the dust settled, he realized with a jolt that Yi Qingtang was nowhere to be seen. Chapter 1797, Escape, 2. There was no way the void energy could have recovered so fast after being destabilized. She mustn't have run far. The heavenly demon race's great general immediately scanned his surroundings. But for some reason, there was no trace of her at all. Damn it! The heavenly demon race cursed out loud. Just as he was going to follow the flickering aura, a few familiar figures appeared in front of him. I knew it. There was no way you would hang around here without any reason. Is the deity ocean with that little fiendish demon? The Earth demon races and Emperor demon races troops which had been leaving, appeared once again. The face of the heavenly demon race's great general darkened as he saw them. You two didn't leave. Leave? We're not that stupid. You were the first one to touch the deity ocean and even tried to merge with it. It's obvious that you're most familiar with the aura of the deity ocean. And even when we told you that the sealed space was about to close just now, you showed no signs of leaving. I had my suspicions then, and it turns out I was right. The Earth demon race's great general gave a low laugh. The heavenly demon race's great general knew that he could no longer hide the truth and admitted everything. So what if that's the case? You two are the idiots. You didn't even realize that the deity ocean had been taken. Ha, is it in your hands then? The Earth demon race's great general retorted savagely. The heavenly demon race's great general's face blackened. Forget it. This is not the time to be arguing. I just saw the little demon flash by and she might have slipped away. The most important thing right now is to find and catch her. As for who the deity ocean belongs to, we can settle that once we get our hands on it, the Emperor demon race's great general said coldly. Yi Qingtang had taken advantage of the chaos to escape using her invisibility. She originally planned to use this time to find the demons from the eastern race but realized once she had gotten to the mountain that there were only a few demons left in the sealed space which had once been swarmed by demons. All the other demons had already left. She didn't dare stay any longer and ran out of the sealed space as fast as she could, still invisible. Once she had escaped from the sealed space, she decided to leave the deadly valley once and for all when she realized that she had left the little white tiger and little heavenly demon back at the eastern camp. Yi Qingtang was speechless. Things just got worse. If she were to leave the two of them behind, little heavenly demon would do just fine since it was a glutton and was strong. The demons wouldn't hurt it. Little white tiger on the other hand. Yi Qingtang could already see the little white tiger going to meet her ancestors if she left him behind. With a sigh, she backtracked towards the eastern camp. Her life was really full of hardships. At this moment, the air in the eastern camp was a little stifling. Who had been heavily wounded, was looking better after devouring a few demon bodies. I've got to say, you're pretty hard to kill, you scared me to death though. Ba sighed in relief. In this battle, the eastern camp had not had many casualties so most of the demons were still out looking for the deity ocean. Is Qing back? Hu gasped. His once perfect skin had been ripped mercilessly, revealing his demon skin. He looked dejected. Chapter 1798, Escape, 3, I say, you are really daring. You gave the deity ocean to that weakling, what can she do? She has probably already died in there. Ba sighed. His words were stinging but his tone was also somewhat regretful. He was feeling regretful over the loss of that beautiful human skin. Not the death of that weakling. Pfft. He might be thinking that, but his chest constricted when the image of Yi Qingtang's face surfaced in his mind. Who also looked rather grim. He was well aware of how risky his action had been, but he had no choice. He would never have been able to shake off the Big Three's pursuit. Just as Ba and Hu were lamenting over the situation, the fiendish demon guarding the camp suddenly cried out. It's Qing. Qing is back. Who? Qing is back. An excited voice echoed across the eastern demon camp. The faces of Hu and Ba froze, before they immediately sprang up. Go and tell the great general now. Hu told Ba. Ba immediately went to deliver the news as Hu hurried to the entrance. The fiendish demons in the eastern camp had surrounded Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang had escaped from death. The crowd of demons who usually ignored her were suddenly full of excitement and high spirits to see her. They cheered and waved and gave her a hero's welcome. Yi Qingtang was very shocked. Qing, you are back. Hu squeezed his way through. His anxious heart finally relaxed upon seeing her. Yi Qingtang nodded. She also heaved a sigh of relief after seeing Hu. Hu was pretty good to her. He usually looked out for her and she had been very worried that Hu had died in the sealed space. It's good that you are back. Hu smiled sincerely. Those little fiendish demons who usually hung around Yi Qingtang couldn't help sniffling when they saw her return safe and sound. Great sage, you are finally back. Just as the crowd of fiendish demons surrounded Yi Qingtang, the eastern great general also came over. His eyes lit up with delight when he saw her. Hu had already told him everything that had happened. He knew that Yi Qingtang was the last person to have held the deity ocean. Amidst all that commotion, the eastern great general suddenly raised his hand. Quiet. The noisy fiendish demons immediately quietened down. Ba, make arrangements to enhance the security of our camp. Strengthen our nearby barricades and send out some scouts to see if there are demons from other camps in the vicinity. Return immediately if there is any news. All of you listen carefully now. None of you is allowed to spread the news that Qing is back. I will kill anyone who leaks this information. The Eastern Great General glared sternly at all the fiendish demons at present. Everyone immediately nodded. Qing, Hu, come with me into the cave. Not wanting to make his inquiry public, the Eastern Great General summoned Yi Qingtang and Hu back into the cave. This was the first time Yi Qingtang was stepping into this cave. It was far deeper and wider than Yi Qingtang imagined. A huge hall was carved into the interior of the cave. Several of the most powerful fiendish demons in the eastern camp were already seated inside. The eyes of those high-ranking demons flickered when they saw Yi Qingtang. But they didn't dare to say anything in front of the Eastern Great General. "Qing, Hu, sit down." A rare smile appeared on the face of the Eastern Great General as he looked at these two demons who had performed an outstanding service. The Eastern Great General was no fool. He knew very well the standard of Yi Qingtang's abilities. As a result, he knew that she had only made it back alive because the deity ocean enhanced her powers. "Qing, did other fiendish demons manage to steal the deity ocean away?" The Eastern Great General sat down and got straight to the point. The moment the Eastern Great General spoke, all the demons at present turned to look at Yi Qingtang. The anxiety on their faces was palpable. After all, the deity ocean was just too important to the entire camp. Chapter 1799, Right and Wrong, 1. Yi Qingtang shook her head. All the fiendish demons in the hall breathed a sigh of relief. The Eastern Great General looked very satisfied. "You have done well this time. With this deity ocean, the Eastern fiendish demons will never need to fear anyone else again. The big three races will be nothing to us. We will become the lords of all fiendish demons after we absorb the power of the deity ocean." Hu and the rest immediately cheered. "Qing, give the deity ocean to the Great General." Hu looked at Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang felt very distressed, but she maintained a calm face. "Great General, the deity ocean is not with me now." "What?" The fiendish demons were shocked. The smile on the Great General's face froze, then he frowned. "Didn't you say that no other fiendish demons managed to snatch the deity ocean from you? Why is it not with you now?" Yi Qingtang was crying on the inside. The deity ocean was actually with her, but she could not hand it over. But she really didn't know what would happen if they knew the deity ocean had merged with her. Exasperated, Yi Qingtang put on a conflicted expression. "When we were in the sealed space and Hu secretly handed the deity ocean to me, I knew how important it was to the camp. There were so many fiendish demons surrounding me and I knew my powers were too weak. The other demons would have immediately found out if I kept the deity ocean on me. So I hid the deity ocean." All the fiendish demons in the hall lapsed into deep thought at Yi Qingtang's words. They never suspected anything amiss with Yi Qingtang's claims. In fact, they found her story very logical. After all, the deity ocean was indeed very powerful and countless fiendish demons were desperate to steal it. Even the heavenly demon race's great general who was the first to get hold of the deity ocean failed to keep it with him. And Yi Qingtang's own abilities. The great general considered Yi Qingtang and felt, it was true she would probably be instantly destroyed if the other demons realized she had the deity ocean. Who handed the deity ocean over to Yi Qingtang as he had no choice then. Yi Qingtang's explanation sounded very reasonable and plausible. In fact, they would find it unbelievable if Yi Qingtang managed to bring back the deity ocean safe and sound, from under the noses of so many fiendish demons. "Is the place where you hid the deity ocean safe?" the great general asked. Yi Qingtang nodded. "It should be very safe. I hid it only after all the surrounding demons scattered off. No one saw me." The great general nodded slightly. "Very good. You must remember the hiding place. Now that the deity ocean has gone missing, all the demon camps will be seeking it. It will be rather chaotic during this period. For now we will lay low for a while before going to retrieve the deity ocean." The great general spoke steadily. "But great general, won't the sealed space be closed?" Who asked. The great general shook his head. "I thought the sealed space would close like before, but it looks like it has undergone a change after the deity ocean descended. Although the opening has become slightly smaller, there are no signs of it closing up. Hu felt reassured. The great general patted Yi Qingtang on the shoulder. It must have been hard on you. Go and take a rest now. Yi Qingtang heaved a secret sigh of relief. She took her leave and immediately went to look for Little Heavenly Demon and Little White Tiger. Chapter 1800, Right and Wrong, 2. Little Heavenly Demon was still slumbering, its tiny body instinctively snuggling toward the warm body of Little White Tiger, who finally couldn't stand it any longer and shoved it away. But before long, Little Heavenly Demon started to roll toward Little White Tiger again. When Yi Qingtang returned, she saw Little White Tiger trying its best to shove Little Heavenly Demon away, while Little Heavenly Demon kept rolling back towards it. You are back. Little White Tiger immediately stood up when it saw Yi Qingtang. It hurried over and sniffed about her body, its sensitive sense of smell instantly discovering a strange scent on her. The smell was quite wondrous. What has entered your body? Little White Tiger asked. Yi Qingtang quickly picked up Little White Tiger, her eyes darting around furtively. After making sure there were no other demons nearby, she told Little White Tiger everything that had happened in that sealed space. Little White Tiger's eyes widened at her story. You are saying, the deity ocean has merged with you? Yi Qingtang nodded. It hesitated before continuing. Do you feel anything? Did your powers increase? But it doesn't feel like your powers improved at all. Yi Qingtang didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She had heard about how powerful the deity ocean was and also knew that one's powers would greatly increase after obtaining a high-level spiritual abode. But somehow, nothing about her had changed. It was all very puzzling. Lord of everything. She still couldn't defeat even a single fiendish demon. The only thing this deity ocean could do for now was to make her invisible and help her pass through dimensions. Yi Qingtang had yet to discover any other changes. This spiritual abode is somewhat strange, but now is not the time to probe into this. We will slowly analyze this item after leaving this godforsaken place, Little White Tiger said. Yi Qingtang agreed. Having been so tense for so long, Yi Qingtang finally let herself relax a little. She sat down cross-legged and tried to see if cultivating would feel the same with the deity ocean merged inside her. It had been some time since Yi Qingtang crossed over to the fourth heaven level. After entering this realm, she had not wasted a single opportunity to cultivate and all her cultivations had felt as per normal. But with the deity ocean inside her now, she could clearly feel that the speed of her cultivation had greatly increased. The store of power which she had spent a long time cultivating was being catalyzed by the deity ocean and gradually moving her toward the mid-stage of the fourth heaven level. Yi Qingtang breathed a secret sigh of relief at that. Just as Yi Qingtang had settled down, Ba suddenly barged in. Yi Qingtang was startled. Before she could think of an explanation for her human-like posture, she noticed that Ba was looking very jittery and was completely oblivious to what she had been doing. Qing, bad news. The great general wants you to head over right now. Yi Qingtang was slightly taken aback. She could already guess what might have happened. Unfortunately, now was not the time to relax. Getting to her feet, Yi Qingtang quickly followed Ba to see the Eastern Great General. All the high-ranking fiendish demons in the Eastern camp were already gathered there, and their expressions were extremely grave. The atmosphere was tense and bizarre to the extremes. Chapter 1801, Right and Wrong, 3, Greetings, Great General. Yi Qingtang was about to bow when the Great General dismissed the need for such niceties. No need for all that. Qing, did any demons from the other camps discover your tracks when you returned? The Great General asked. Yi Qingtang shook her head. She was not lying. She was afraid of being discovered by the other demons and so had made the return journey in invisible mode. It was only just before reaching the Eastern camp that she revealed her form. In addition, she had made sure that there were no other demons around her when she lifted her invisibility. Has my return been made known? Yi Qingtang observed the great general's serious expression. The great general shook his head. No such news yet. But the three top races seem to have detected your presence. They have mobilized their troops and are heading our way. Yi Qingtang was shocked. How did they know which camp I am from? Although demons could usually discern each other's camp by their scent, the eastern camp was so insignificant to the big three that they wouldn't have recognized the scent. It's probably because of me, who clenched his fists in frustration. They injured me while I was under pursuit and I probably left some blood stains on them. They would only need to do a bit of digging to easily find out my camp. So, who didn't finish his sentence, but all the fiendish demons at present already knew what he was going to say. Apart from a demon from his own camp, there was no way who would hand the deity ocean to another person. But they might not know that Qing is back. We can, Ba tried to speak up but was interrupted by Hu. Does it matter whether Qing is back? We are now the number one enemy in the eyes of the big three. When their troops attack, it will be a one-way road to hell for us whether or not Qing is here. The moment Hu snatched that deity ocean, they had already become the number one enemy to the big three. Not only did they want to take back the deity ocean, they wanted to slaughter every eastern fiendish demon and destroy the whole camp. Then, what should we do? Should we go and get the deity ocean now? Ba suggested. We don't have time for that now, the great general said slowly. The fiendish demons from the big three are arriving very soon. With that, the great general suddenly turned to Yi Qingtang. Qing, you are the only one who knows where the deity ocean is. I am very glad now that I didn't try to ask you about its location. Since you are the only one who knows, you need to leave this cave from the back and escape as far away as possible. Yi Qingtang was taken aback by great general's words. Although Yi Qingtang couldn't wait to leave this godforsaken place, she had gotten close to the demons here. Now that the eastern camp had fallen into dire straits, she really couldn't bear to just leave them and flee on her own. Qing, listen to me. The deity ocean is the only hope for our camp. Now that we are the number one enemy of the big three, I will evacuate all the fiendish demons from this camp right after you leave. We will have to abandon this place, the great general said very solemnly. Against the big three tribes, they were completely defenseless. How would they have the slightest chance of winning? It would be total annihilation if they remained here. They were not foolish enough to bang their heads against hard, solid rock. The only thing they could do now was to flee and delay their potential demise as much as possible. Chapter 1802, Fleeing the Valley, 1. Luckily Yi Qingtang was the only one who knew where the deity ocean was. Even if any one of the eastern fiendish demons were captured, the big three wouldn't be able to get any information out of them. But, Yi Qingtang still felt very uneasy. Don't worry. We have been able to survive for so long under the reign of the big three because we have our own methods of self-preservation. They won't be able to find us if we split up and hide within the valley. The great general patted Yi Qingtang on the shoulder. He was rather comforted by Yi Qingtang's hesitation. Qing, don't worry. Now, the most important thing is to prevent you being captured. If you end up in their hands, all our efforts would have been for nothing. Who spoke up? Yi Qingtang gritted her teeth. She knew this was the best arrangement. She would only delay the evacuation of the eastern fiendish demons if she remained. All right. Great General, Hu, Ba, take care. And those little fellows, Yi Qingtang thought of those little fiendish demons who followed her all day long in the camp. We will make the appropriate arrangements. You must remember that there is hope for the eastern camp only if you stay alive, the great general stated gravely. Yi Qingtang bowed and turned to leave. She picked up little heavenly demon and little white tiger before hurrying out from the back of the cave. Fiendish demons. Yi Qingtang had a deep fear of these creatures previously, but now, she had a whole new perspective on them. They were the epitome of terror as an enemy. But as a friend, they were brave, pure and honorable. There were so many different types of creatures in this world. No single species' way of living was the right way. Right and wrong, it really depended on which side you happened to be standing on. At this point, Yi Qingtang had no time to mull over her worries about the eastern fiendish demons. She had to quickly escape with Little White Tiger and Little Heavenly Demon. To avoid being discovered, Yi Qingtang once again activated the deity ocean within her to make herself invisible. Having fled to a mountain range near the eastern camp, she saw that the eastern fiendish demons, who would usually be hanging around outside, were already rushing into the cave. The great general must have already started the evacuation. Meanwhile, some distance away, Yi Qingtang could clearly see the troops of the Big Three surging toward the camp like a giant wave. Yi Qingtang took a deep breath. Without any further hesitation, she quickly left her current spot. The wrath of the Big Three and news of their combined attack had spread across the entire valley. All the other demon camps had also come forth to watch the battle. As a result, a strange peace and quiet settled across the valley, which was usually filled with all sorts of fights and skirmishes. After staying invisible for a period of time, Yi Qingtang surveyed her surroundings to confirm there were no other fiendish demons around. Only then did she undo her invisibility to continue her escape. The deity ocean took quite a long time to recharge its power. As a result, Yi Qingtang didn't want to use its power unless absolutely necessary. After all, this was the treasure that would guarantee her life. Yi Qingtang didn't dare to stop for even a second while in the valley. She moved very vigilantly, traveling day and night for several consecutive days without stopping. She also took the chance to wash off the demon blood on her and swallowed some elixir to mask her aura. While hiding, she came upon some passing fiendish demons by chance. Overhearing their conversation, she learned that the Big Three invaded the eastern camp only to find that all the fiendish demons had already fled without a trace. The Big Three had ended up completely empty-handed. Chapter 1803, Fleeing the Valley. 2. The abandoned camp further enraged the Big Three. They immediately issued the command to pursue all the fiendish demons who had fled. Yi Qingtang couldn't help heaving a secret sigh of relief on hearing that. It looked like the Eastern Great General was rather competent and able to avoid a total annihilation. However, Yi Qingtang had no idea how long the Eastern fiendish demons could evade the Big Three. Meanwhile, the deity ocean inside her didn't exhibit the kind of absolute power touted by the fiendish demons. This made Yi Qingtang feel very helpless. If she could become more powerful, she might be able to help rebuild the eastern camp. After an interminably long and tiring journey, Yi Qingtang finally arrived at the end of the mountain valley. The moment she left the valley, Yi Qingtang just felt like everything that had happened in the valley was just one big nightmare. The further she got from the valley, the warmer the temperature was. After several days of hasty traveling, that warmth had turned into an unbearably scorching heat. After going past another mountain range, a blazing red earth filled Yi Qingtang's line of sight. Is this the scorched hot lands? Yi Qingtang was stunned by the sight of that deep red earth. Hot lava flowed within the numerous cracks on the ground. If the cold of the frozen ice fields was enough to turn a person's blood to ice, then the heat of the scorched hot lands was enough to evaporate all the moisture in a person's body. Yi Qingtang stood motionless on the mountain peak. The strong winds that blew at her were so hot that they felt like flames licking her skin. Within seconds, Yi Qingtang was already drenched in sweat. She looked like she had just been dunked in a pool of water. In the next moment, Yi Qingtang unceremoniously dumped Little White Tiger on the ground. Damn! What are you doing? Little White Tiger had been enjoying the luxury of being carried. Suddenly tossed onto the floor by Yi Qingtang, it tumbled a couple of times and looked very annoyed. It's hot. Yi Qingtang shot Little White Tiger a derisive look. Little White Tiger was dazed. In the frozen ice fields, Little White Tiger's body heat had been like a hot water bottle, warm and cozy in her arms. But in the scorched hot lands, holding little white tiger was like hugging a bag of hot charcoal in the height of a summer day. You have changed. Little white tiger looked very aggrieved. Yi Qingtang was speechless. For so many days you loved hugging me and would hold me as and when you can. But now you are spurning me for being too hot. Women are indeed capricious. Little white tiger's voice was full of rebuke. Wait a moment, where did you learn to say such things? Yi Qingtang felt a headache coming on. When did this fellow become such a diva? You think I am too hot, but why aren't you dumping this little punk on the ground too? Little white tiger pointed one paw at little heavenly demon, who was still in Yi Qingtang's arms. The corners of Yi Qingtang's lips twitched. Little heavenly demon was still sleeping. How would it be able to follow them if she tossed it on the floor? Instead, Yi Qingtang chose to just ignore little white tiger's hissy fit. She stared seriously at the scorched hot lands. There was still a lingering fear after meeting all those monsters in the frozen ice fields. Just as Yi Qingtang was pondering how to safely travel through the dangerous scorched hot lands, little heavenly demon suddenly gave a lazy stretch and opened its groggy eyes. Gurgle, as little heavenly demon woke up, a familiar noise escaped from its belly. Chapter 1804, Fleeing the Valley, 3, Yi Qingtang, did its hunger pangs finally wake it up? Freshly awakened, little heavenly demon laid in Yi Qingtang's arms and stared adorably into her face. Those big, limpid eyes were filled with the words, hungry. Exasperated, Yi Qingtang put little heavenly demon down and took out some dried meat from her space ring to feed it. Little heavenly demon appeared very satisfied with the first few bites, but its face changed thereafter. The contented look gradually faded and it looked grumpily at Yi Qingtang. What a spoilt brat. You were asleep for so many days. Now that you have finally awakened, you are immediately demanding to have something hot and fresh to eat. Little white tiger instantly knew what little heavenly demon was thinking. Yi Qingtang was completely speechless. Don't be upset. Let's see if we can find anything else for you to eat, Yi Qingtang coaxed patiently. With little heavenly demon awake, she was no longer that worried about surviving in the scorched hot lands. But there was something that puzzled her. Why did little heavenly demon fall into a deep slumber immediately after entering the mountain valley, and then suddenly wake up again right after they left? Was it a coincidence or was there some hidden reason? Nevertheless, Yi Qingtang could breathe more easily now. With little heavenly demon's powers, it shouldn't be too difficult to survive as long as they didn't encounter divine-level monsters. Little heavenly demon seemed to understand Yi Qingtang's words. It immediately pointed at a big mountain nearby. The mountain was so immense that the peak was lost in the clouds. But the mountain looked somewhat strange. It was not flaming red like the rest of the scorched hot lands, and it didn't have any lava flowing down it. Are you saying that there are things to eat on that mountain? Yi Qingtang asked. Little heavenly demon thought for a moment before shaking its head. Before Yi Qingtang could say anything else, it suddenly flew toward that mountain. Yi Qingtang and little white tiger had no idea what little heavenly demon wanted to do. They chased after it. Soon after, they arrived at the foot of the mountain. Standing there, Yi Qingtang felt more than ever that this mountain was very foreboding. It was over 10 times bigger than any other mountain she had ever witnessed. In addition, Yi Qingtang realized that the temperature of this mountain was much cooler than the rest of the area. Even more strange was the fact that the mountain didn't have any soil and rocks. Nevertheless, it felt very hard and solid under her hands. It was a very bizarre feeling. It was like a piece of leather that had hardened over tens of thousands of years. Just as Yi Qingtang was still puzzling over the strange characteristics of this mountain, little heavenly demon suddenly opened its jaws and bit into it. Yi Qingtang was startled by its actions. Have you gone mad with hunger? You are chewing on musty old soil now. Yi Qingtang quickly pulled little heavenly demon back. What was wrong with this greedy little thing? It would rather gnaw on a mountain than eat perfectly good dried meat. I think, this might not be a mountain. Little White Tiger suddenly turned to look at Yi Qingtang with a bewildered expression. Not a mountain. Then this is a... Yi Qingtang's sentence trailed off. Little White Tiger kept silent for a moment before giving the mountain a kick. This is the dead body of a true god. Yi Qingtang's eyes widened in shock. Kill me. The dead body of a true god. Didn't the people from the second domain say that after the heavenly demons were released, countless true gods came forth and ended up dying in the hands of the demons? If I am right, this mound before us is the corpse of one of the true gods, Little White Tiger deduced. Chapter 1805, Scorched Hot Lands. 1. Yi Qingtang lifted her eyes to look at the corpse of the true god, which was too big for her mind to even comprehend. It was hard to imagine how fierce the battle between a god and a demon must have been. Not understanding why Yi Qingtang was so stunned, the little heavenly demon took this opportunity to tear off a piece of the true god's long-rotted flesh and spat it in Yi Qingtang's hand, as though it wanted her to roast it. Yi Qingtang, the true god, had already been dead for hundreds of thousands of years, so who knew whether its flesh could still be eaten? Furthermore, Yi Qingtang couldn't stand the thought of consuming a true god's flesh. This mystic realm had already been cursed by the cursed true god. If she ate another god's flesh, she would probably never get out of here. She would probably die a meaningless death as well. You can't eat this. Just bear with it for a little while and I'll get you something else to eat, Yi Qingtang coaxed the heavenly demon. Yi Qingtang could only bring out huge amounts of the dried meat she had, roast them and feed them to the heavenly demon so that he wouldn't grab more of the true god's flesh. Consuming the flesh of a god, the idea was too appalling. Feigning a look of satisfaction as the little heavenly demon shoved the dried meat in its mouth, Yi Qingtang quickly took a detour. She dared not stop for even a moment. But the sight that greeted her after she circled around the true god's corpse stopped her in her tracks. On the vast land behind the true god's corpse were mounds and mounds of corpses all lying on the ground. They were all the corpses of true gods, who had silently fallen upon this scorching land. All this was like a nightmare. Death surrounded her, enshrouding her in its embrace. The war between the true gods hundreds of thousands of years ago seemed to have decimated everything here, leaving behind a hellish and oppressive silence. Yi Qingtang looked at the gigantic bodies in front of her. She could no longer make out what they used to look like, but was filled with awe by what was in front of her. These were the true gods, the creators of the humans, yet they had died in this mystic realm because of those same humans' betrayal. How much they must have hated the humans. Yi Qingtang's heart was in a turmoil. But just as Yi Qingtang was reflecting on this silently, a gentle song rang out in the silent sky. The song was like a shallow stream, singing about peace and calm. Yi Qingtang subconsciously looked in the direction of the melody, only to be greeted by the slim figure she had seen beside the frozen river. The figure walked slowly over the red earth, her skirt trailing behind her on the lava, unburnt. The way she walked was slow and elegant. Yi Qingtang felt a strange sense of calm wash over her as she looked at the figure. Who is she? Yi Qingtang looked at the figure, her heart full of suspicion. But the song seemed to entrance her with some sort of magic, and it washed away all of Yi Qingtang's wariness. She felt as though everything in her life was peaceful as long as she listened to the song. A paradise without danger and death was being offered to her. That woman is strange. As strange as this mystic realm. I think we should stay away from her, Little White Tiger said cautiously. Chapter 1806, Scorched Hot Lands. 2. Yi Qingtang shook her head as she heard the melody. It made her lower her guard so she was unable to feel wary towards the mystic realm's dangers. But this false sense of calm would be deadly in this place. Biting her tongue, Yi Qingtang used the pain to dissipate the strange feelings that were pervading her mind. She had thought that the lattice voice was enchanting, but now her heart filled with panic as she realized how bewitching it was. Let's go. Without wasting another second, Yi Qingtang decided to circle around the woman and get through the scorched hot lands another way. But before she had taken too many steps, the lattice warm, beautiful voice suddenly changed into one that was cold and filled with sorrow. This sudden change made Yi Qingtang's heart leap to her mouth. She hadn't forgotten the freezing wind that the change in melody had brought last time. I have a bad feeling about this. Yi Qingtang frowned and looked towards the sky. The scorching sky was gradually being covered in dark red clouds. Almost instinctively, Yi Qingtang grabbed Little Heavenly Demon and Little White Tiger and flew forwards quickly. She had a feeling that the woman's voice would just become even more insane and dangerous. As Yi Qingtang flew as fast as she could, the lattice voice turned resentful and sinister. By now, the dark red clouds had already gradually covered the sky. Rays of red light shone through the clouds. In the next second, thunder boomed through the land and red flames started falling through the clouds. It's raining fire. Yi Qingtang looked at the flames falling ceaselessly from the sky in shock as she quickly adjusted the energy around her to protect herself. As the flames rained down on them, Yi Qingtang suddenly realized that they were drops of lava. Even though she was protecting herself, she could still feel burning pain as the lava fell on her. We can't keep running. We have to find a place to hide from the flames or we're going to be burned to death. Little White Tiger was in a panic. It grew bigger, grabbed Yi Qingtang and Little Heavenly Demon in his mouth and ran forwards as quickly as he could. As the molten magma fell to the ground like rain, it created dents in the ground and spread out, covering the earth with flames. In the blink of an eye, the entire ground was covered in a sea of flames, the bodies of the true gods burning ferociously. Little White Tiger cursed in his heart as the lava burned painfully. It was lucky that it had a thick hide and strong flesh, or it would have been burned to a skeleton in an instant. Yi Qingtang was terrified as well, and she quickly looked for a cave they could hide in temporarily. There. As her eyes scanned the surroundings, Yi Qingtang suddenly spotted a dilapidated building nearby and asked Little White Tiger to fly towards it. Under the raining flames, the woman's voice had become twisted and fierce as the flames became thick and dense. The entire earth had been transformed into a sea of fire and it felt as though they were in an oven. The temperature alone was enough to cook a human in its rabid s. Chapter 1807, Scorched Hot Lands, 3. Without any hesitation, Little White Tiger raced frantically towards the dilapidated building. While it was extremely run down, it would at least give them temporary relief from the flames. Having been rained down with the molten magma, Little White Tiger was already burning from the fire. As it entered the building and escaped the relentless flames, it roared and put Yi Qingtang and Little Heavenly Demon down as it rolled on the ground to extinguish the flames. Fuck, that burned. Hot hot hot. Little White Tiger roared as it shrank in size. Its black and white fur was now burnt in patches. It looked like a balding wild cat. Even though Yi Qingtang had been terrified of the raining flames just now, she couldn't help but laugh as she looked at Little White Tiger's pathetic state. In return, Little White Tiger glared ferociously at her. Damn you, how dare you laugh at me? If not for me, the one burning would be, ow ow ow. You damned rascal, what are you biting? Just as Little White Tiger opened its mouth to complain, Little Heavenly Demon smelled the familiar char and came over to feast on its tail. Its sharp teeth brought Little White Tiger to tears and it quickly ran away. Still the Little Heavenly Demon refused to let go of Little White Tiger's tail and went flying with it. Yi Qingtang was speechless as she looked at the two of them, giving her a headache. She pulled Little Heavenly Demon off Little White Tiger's tail. Little White Tiger, which had already been in a pathetic state after being burnt, was now clutching its tail miserably as it glared at Little Heavenly Demon, its face full of innocence. Damn it, these two were both ungrateful scum. It had sacrificed its magnificent fur for them. One of them was laughing like there was no tomorrow at him and the other only wanted a taste of its flesh. A pair of cold-hearted bastards. All right, all right. You did well, Yi Qingtang comforted it. HMPF. Little White Tiger snorted arrogantly and turned its head away. Did this damned woman think he was so easy to placate? Yi Qingtang looked at the arrogant little white tiger and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. But she had no time to waste on this. She looked out at the raining flames outside, turning the earth into a sea of fire. They had managed to avoid further damage from the flames for now, but their surroundings were rising in temperature. If not for the deity ocean, which was lowering her temperature slightly, she would have died from the extreme temperature. Looking at this place, I think it used to be a palace. Little White Tiger finally dropped its arrogant act and lifted its head to survey their surroundings. It seemed like they were in an abandoned palace. They could tell from the rundown walls that the place had been damaged for a long time now. There was already a thick layer of dust inside. Yi Qingtang looked around at the ruins. Even though this place was dilapidated, it had retained traces of its former grandeur. Beautiful and intricate images were carved on a giant pillar holding up half of the collapsed palace. Yi Qingtang froze as she saw the picture. I've seen this kind of totem before. You've seen it before? Where? Little White Tiger asked. You should have seen it before as well, Yi Qingtang replied. Huh? Little White Tiger's expression was filled with confusion. In the temple of the cursed land, remember? Yi Qingtang stepped forward and rubbed the dust off the pillar, revealing the picture underneath. Chapter 1808, The Dilapidated Temple, 1, The image under the dust made Little White Tiger freeze. It was really. Back when Yi Qingtang was headed towards the land of infinite demons with the Jiang family, they had to hide in the forbidden place as they were being chased. It was there that Yi Qingtang had met Jiang Yu and a few others, who were imprisoned there due to a curse. At that time, in order to come into contact with the curse that had been laid on them, they could only let Yi Qingtang and those with her enter the battered temple. It was there that Yi Qingtang had noticed a few pictures and words on the pillars. Are you saying, this is a temple? Little White Tiger said, deep in thought. Yi Qingtang did not rush to conclusions and looked around her again. The palace was huge. Even though most of it had already collapsed, the area that was left was still massive. There were pictures carved on the other pillars around them as well, but too much time had passed and those pictures had already faded and lost their colors. These were done by the primordial humans. Yi Qingtang looked at a barely completed picture, which depicted the true God creating the primordial humans. On another pillar was a picture of the mighty true God squatting on a throne above the void. Below the clouds were the worshipping primordial humans. The true God had created the humans, taught them how to use their own power and made them a part of the world. After their creation, the true God had treated the clans he had created with gentle love. He had set rules to guide them and help them build their own territory. Yi Qingtang realized that the pictures were depicting the true God creating the primordial humans, and the number of primordial humans were increasing. In the beginning, there was only a small group of people shrouded in darkness. They gradually became clearer, and Yi Qingtang saw a few of them with their faces carved out clearly. It was just that the wall paintings had already been damaged and the faces of the primordial humans had been mostly destroyed. There are more pictures here. Little White Tiger was standing on the other side of the temple and gesturing at the wall carvings on that side. Yi Qingtang glanced over and noticed that the pictures on the other side of the wall were different from what she had seen previously. There were no primordial humans on the wall carvings there. Instead, there was a huge black shadow. This is the heavenly demon. Yi Qingtang looked at the dark figure standing next to the shining god and narrowed her eyes. Yi Qingtang followed the sequence of pictures and found something odd on the first wall painting. On it was a huge black hole and in it was a glowing blue orb. Standing beside the hole was the heavenly demon and the true god. Why does this blue orb look so much like the deity ocean? Yi Qingtang was curious. Those powerful people from the second domain had only told them that this was where the gods used to imprison the heavenly demons. Yi Qingtang had never thought much of what they said, but took note now that she had realized that this mystic realm was actually a high-level spiritual abode. Chapter 1809, The Dilapidated Temple. 2. The spiritual abode has probably existed from when the heavenly demons were imprisoned here. According to the pictures, the heavenly demon and true god probably found this spiritual abode at the same time and had a battle here. The true god came out on top in the end and built a temple here to imprison the heavenly demons. But the pictures on the wall didn't depict the origins of the spiritual abode. It was just that. A place that interested both the true god and heavenly demons was probably more complicated than it appeared. Yi Qingtang became more and more interested in the deity ocean in her body as she thought about this. Up till now, except for the power to cross space and turn invisible, she had not discovered any other powerful abilities from the orb. Was it because she was still not strong enough to control the spiritual abode? Yi Qingtang was filled with curiosity. She was almost certain that this dilapidated palace was a temple. Just as Yi Qingtang was thinking about the pictures on the walls, the woman's voice among the raining flames suddenly calmed. The dark, twisted melody transformed suddenly into something solemn and holy. But as the melody started, Yi Qingtang realized with a start that the wall carvings in the temple were all glowing gold. Yi Qingtang felt her vision blur as the lights flashed. The temple which had been shrouded in darkness was suddenly covered in light. As Yi Qingtang's eyesight recovered, what she saw stunned her. The ruins from the temple had been erased and those dusty pillars were now immaculate, tall and majestic, exuding an indescribable resplendence and grandeur. A figure in golden armor was sitting on the highest throne of the temple. It was bathed in holy light and one could not help but revere it. This is, Yi Qingtang stared at the scene in front of her in shock. But before she could understand what was happening, a deep voice rang out from behind her. Yi Qingtang subconsciously turned her head. The huge collapsed gate of the temple was now standing perfectly in front of her. The huge gates opened slowly and a group of primordial humans walked in respectfully from the outside. Their faces were filled with humility and revere. Apart from the primordial humans who had entered the temple, Yi Qingtang also saw countless primordial humans kneeling respectfully outside the temple, singing hymns praising the true god. The song was exactly what the mysterious woman had been singing. Yi Qingtang noticed the innocent expressions on the primordial humans' faces as they worshipped their creator. The faces of the young men and women leading the way were filled with fanatical worship towards the true god. They knelt to the ground in unison, offering their ardent love and faith to the god on the throne. Yi Qingtang looked at all of this in shock. Both the god on the throne and the primordial humans seemed to not have noticed her presence at all. Is this a memory from the past? Yi Qingtang reached out tentatively towards the primordial humans, and sure enough, her hands went straight through them. Chapter 1810, The Dilapidated Temple. 3. Right before her eyes was the illusion of something that had happened tens of thousands of years ago, left lingering in that temple. Yi Qingtang had no idea when this illusion would end. She could only stand quietly by the side, watching what seemed to be a memory unfold from all those years ago. Those happenings related to primordial humans and true gods who only existed in legends. Observing how these primordial humans worshipped the true god with such ardor, it was hard to imagine how they could have chosen to betray them in the end. That particular illusion didn't last for too long. After a short while, the scene in the temple changed to another time. Light still filled the place. The gold-armored true god sitting on the altar still looked as mighty and powerful. But the faces of the primordial humans looked slightly different. Those originally pure and naive faces had gradually become more weathered and hardened. The men and women standing at the foremost had already emerged as the most elite fighters. Although it was just an illusion, Yi Qingtang could clearly feel the change in their aura. These people's powers had increased by over 10 times. But the most astounding thing was that they seemed to exude a hint of holy power. After a brief moment, Yi Qingtang finally realized that the primordial humans had yet to betray the true gods at this point. The yin-yang perfected Lord 10th Heaven had yet to be closed. Yi Qingtang didn't know how many years passed between those two illusions. But she detected that the passion with which those primordial humans worshipped the true gods had somewhat dampened. Even so, they remained very respectful and gazed at the true god with awe and adulation. It was just that the expressions on their weathered faces now took on a more profound depth. It seemed that the true god was blessing these primordial humans. Although Yi Qingtang could see the true god speaking, she couldn't hear any sound. Those primordial humans nodded respectfully after the true god finished his speech. Yi Qingtang recalled the drawing on the wall. After the true gods created the primordial humans, they taught them to cultivate and also set down some regulations. Perhaps the true god was dictating those regulations to the primordial humans now. Still, she could only guess. Then the scene before her changed once again. This time, those primordial humans had become even more powerful. Their respect and awe for the true gods had faded further. In addition, Yi Qingtang discovered another figure by the altar. It was a gorgeous, slender woman. She was wearing a gold-colored veil which covered half her face, revealing only a pair of mesmerizing eyes. Yi Qingtang had never seen such lovely eyes. Although the woman's face was half hidden, just that pair of eyes alone made Yi Qingtang feel that no other female in this world could be more beautiful than her. And that woman radiated a holy power. She was also a true god. Somehow, Yi Qingtang felt that this female true god looked very much like that mysterious woman she had seen in the mystic realm earlier. But before Yi Qingtang could mull over it, the scene suddenly changed again. The temple was considerably darker now. When the gates to the hall were once again opened, the primordial humans who strode in, they no longer got down to their knees before the true god. They only gave a brief bow in greeting. Chapter 1811, God and Demon. 1. The true god on the altar didn't detect the changes in those primordial humans. Everything went on as per normal. After a long time, those primordial humans finally left the temple. Yi Qingtang thought the illusion would soon change scene again like before. But a familiar tune suddenly started playing in the illusion. Amazement flashed across Yi Qingtang's eyes. There had been no sound in all the illusions she had observed so far. But it was different this time. Yi Qingtang instinctively looked toward the source of the music. The gorgeous woman beside the altar was gently humming that tune after the primordial humans left. She nodded at the true god on the altar, those lovely eyes curving up in a smile. The true god was telling her something. Thereafter, the woman shifted her feet and flew out of the temple. As she passed by Yi Qingtang, that familiar tune seemed to infuse itself straight into Yi Qingtang's heart. As if pulled by a force, Yi Qingtang followed suit. The image of the temple swirled past her like a revolving lantern. At this point, Yi Qingtang was more or less certain that the humming woman was that mysterious lady she had encountered in the mystic realm. Yi Qingtang had been in the dark over who that lady was. But now, Yi Qingtang could make a reasonable guess. To be able to stand beside a true god and to smile and talk so familiarly with him, she must also be a true god. A true god was benevolent and loved everything in the world. But they were always high up on their pedestals, looking down upon everything. Even those primordial humans, who were personally created by the true gods, had to gaze up at them. Don't tell me she is still alive. Yi Qingtang narrowed her eyes. The sight of that woman in the mystic realm was a very bizarre occurrence. She didn't leave a single trace behind after she disappeared either. And that singing voice was enough to mesmerize the entire mystic realm. But Yi Qingtang clearly remembered people from the second domain saying that all the true gods had perished in the battle with the heavenly demons. Was she the only exception? There were too many questions in her mind. Now the scene before her had morphed into the forest outside the temple. The scorched hot lands that Yi Qingtang was now seeing was totally different from before, where all she could observe was oozing lava. The scene before her now was full of luscious greenery and colorful flowers. It was a beauteous scene of resplendence. Could this be how the scorched hot lands originally looked like tens of thousands of years ago? Yi Qingtang instinctively turned to look at the dilapidated temple. In the illusion, it had recovered its former glory, exuding a halo of holy light. Under the glow of that holy power, everything that surrounded that temple was vibrant and full of life. It was completely different from the harsh cold and cruel heat that Yi Qingtang had experienced. Just as Yi Qingtang was gazing at the once again glorious temple, that woman with the wonderful voice suddenly stopped. Yi Qingtang instinctively looked beyond her. Standing before a field of blooming flowers, the humming lattice face was full of shock. Lying amidst the blossoms was a tall, strapping pitch-black figure. Was that a heavenly demon? Yi Qingtang was stunned. This mystic realm was meant to imprison the heavenly demons, and it was not strange to find one here. But Chapter 1812, God and Demon. 2. The heavenly demons and true gods were at direct odds with each other. Why would a heavenly demon appear near the temple? Yi Qingtang still couldn't understand what was going on. Suddenly the heavenly demon stood up, its towering body casting a huge shadow across the gorgeous woman. The unexpected action gave Yi Qingtang a fright, nearly forgetting that this was just an illusion. But the shock on that woman's face quickly faded to be replaced by a faint smile. Those lovely eyes curved up pleasantly. You have startled me again. If the shining god knows you are nearby, he will send you flying off with one punch, the woman teased. Even under the shadow of the huge heavenly demon, there was no sign of fear or hatred in her face. Those lovely eyes were full of cheer. Her voice held hints of mischief. The heavenly demon stood before the woman and he seemed to be replying. But Yi Qingtang couldn't hear his voice. Apart from the female true god, Yi Qingtang could not hear any other sound. I know you are not afraid of him. But are you not afraid of me too? The woman appeared to be tickled by the heavenly demon's words. She pretended to glare at him sternly, but her serious posture was immediately dispelled when the heavenly demon placed his large palm gently on her head, stroking her softly. It was a sudden movement, but the woman didn't appear unhappy. Her stern expression instantly dissolved into a warm smile. She raised her hand and held the heavenly demon's palm against her own cheek. Don't worry. I already made a deal with them. I will guard the temple for 10,000 years. You must be a good boy. I will punish you if you create any trouble. It was clearly a warning, but her tone was sweet and teasing. Yi Qingtang was completely stunned by the scene. What was going on? This female true god and the heavenly demon, what was their relationship? Since the ancient times, the heavenly demons and true gods had been in conflict and would duel to the death whenever they encountered each other. Yi Qingtang never dreamed that she would ever witness a heavenly demon and true god behaving so amicably with each other. So amicably that there were hints of a secret amorous affair happening. Was she overthinking things? A heavenly demon and true god getting along was already a rare sight. It was completely impossible for these two to be having some kind of affair. Yi Qingtang was not experienced in matters of romance, so she decided not to jump to her own conclusions. Perhaps this female true god was just feeling sympathetic toward this trapped heavenly demon. Meanwhile, maybe this particular heavenly demon was not that evil. No matter which race, there were bound to be ones who differed from the norm. Weren't there legends that described how the true gods tried to change the heavenly demons for the better when they first encountered each other? In the end, they realized the demons were evil to the core and never going to change. The true gods finally gave up the notion and imprisoned them. However, this was just a legend and not completely verified. As Yi Qingtang told herself to stop overthinking things, the heavenly demon and woman were already holding hands and strolling across the field of flowers. It was as if those flowers were affected by the woman's power. They swayed gently in the breeze and scattered their petals all over her body. Chapter 1813, God and Demon, 3. The heavenly demon looked rather annoyed at the petals swirling around the woman. He swept them aside and then suddenly lifted her off her feet. Yi Qingtang, she felt that the relationship between these two was increasingly ambiguous. Yi Qingtang hadn't taken a single step, but the scenery around her shifted as the heavenly demon and the woman progressed through the fields. The distance between them and Yi Qingtang was maintained such that she could see their every action and hear the woman's laughter, but she had yet to see the face of that heavenly demon. The heavenly demon and the woman seemed intent on leaving the vicinity of the temple. They passed through the forest and came to a quiet riverside. The woman jumped down from the arms of the heavenly demon and lifted the hem of her skirt slightly. Taking off her shoes and socks, she dipped her fair feet gently in the water. As the water rippled, that familiar tune once again sounded out her lips. That voice was full of bliss and contentment. Like the first time, Yi Qingtang felt the strong urge to smile when she heard that melody. Meanwhile, the heavenly demon stood quietly behind her. Still, Yi Qingtang could not see his face. But somehow, she could tell that at this moment, the heavenly demon would have no eyes for anyone else but that figure playing with the water. It was as if nothing in this wide world could compare to the slight curl of that woman's lips. Yi Qingtang was increasingly suspicious of the relationship between these two. But before she could study them further, the scene before her gradually faded. In the blink of an eye, Yi Qingtang had once again returned to the temple. The woman was quietly standing in the temple. The shining god was seated on the altar. His lips were moving and his brows slightly furrowed. He looked like he was reprimanding the woman. Even though the woman's face was half covered by the veil, one could still see her defiance from the faint crease of her brows and the slight narrowing of her eyes. Shining God, I know what I am doing. The woman suddenly spoke up. Her bright eyes held an irrepressible light. The shining god's frown deepened. But the woman no longer wished to argue with him. She turned and flew out of the temple. The moment the woman flew out, Yi Qingtang felt like she was being pulled along. The scenery around her changed and soon after, the woman had once again arrived at the river from the previous illusion. A tall, strapping figure stood there quietly, as if pondering something. He looked like he had been waiting for a long time. Wasting no time, the woman threw her slender body onto the heavenly demon's back and hugged him tightly. Stiffening slightly, the heavenly demon was about to turn when the woman murmured, "Don't move." The heavenly demon stayed still. He seemed to have detected the sadness in her voice. The shining god wants me to go back. He is forbidding me to step into this place. The woman's voice was muffled as she buried her face in the heavenly demon's broad back. The heavenly demon was stunned. I will fight to stay here. Even if I have to give up my true god status, I will remain here, together with you, the woman stated with determination. Yi Qingtang was completely dumbstruck. Previously, she could have still tried to convince herself that their ambiguous relationship was just a figment of her overactive imagination, but now the proof was staring at her straight in the face. This female true god had actually fallen in love with a heavenly demon. Chapter 1814, Betrayal, 1. Yi Qingtang felt like her own world was collapsing. A true god and a heavenly demon, in love? Not only that. This true god was even willing to give up her true god status and remain here with that heavenly demon? Yi Qingtang had spent her previous life struggling to survive, and never had time to experience love. Meanwhile in this life, she had concentrated on getting stronger so that what happened in her previous life wouldn't happen again. She was completely unable to understand the kind of intense feelings that could lead to this scenario. It was as if one could give up everything in the world for the sake of love. Yi Qingtang's eyes took on a profound glint. The shining god wanted the woman to leave. He probably already discovered her relationship with that heavenly demon. How could a true god tolerate one of his own kind romancing a heavenly demon? It was an absolute taboo. Yi Qingtang would never have believed that something like that could happen if she hadn't seen it with her own two eyes. Even more startling to Yi Qingtang was the fact that the woman was willing to give up her status as a true god just to be with a heavenly demon. The woman didn't speak again and Yi Qingtang couldn't hear the voice of the heavenly demon. She didn't know if he was speaking. Time passed by slowly and the two of them just stood quietly by the river. Until the woman started humming that familiar tune again, while still leaning against the back of that heavenly demon. But this time, this tune no longer sounded carefree or blissful. Instead, it was filled with pain and sadness. After a long time, day turned into night and the woman's voice had turned raspy. She said she would never leave him. She said she would try her best to stay here. She knew it was impossible for him to leave this place. Like all the other heavenly demons here, he was imprisoned and unable to ever escape. But she was willing to remain here forever and accompany him until the end of time. Yi Qingtang watched the scene before her, while her heart was filled with conflict and confusion. Love was a very unfamiliar feeling to her. Humans have always composed songs that touted the purity of love, but to Yi Qingtang, it was just a fool's dream. Something completely impractical. Yi Qingtang suddenly thought of whether there would come a day when she would meet someone who could make her act so selflessly. To give up everything for him. Would that person sacrifice the same for her? It would be a very precious and very rare occurrence. The woman's singing voice seemed to possess a kind of magic. It could stir Yi Qingtang's heartstrings. Yi Qingtang was still deep in thought when that singing voice suddenly stopped. The two figures were still embraced together when they were startled by a clap of thunder. The stern face of the shining god appeared in midair. Glowing all over, those eyes were sharp as a knife and directed straight at the woman and the heavenly demon. In the next second, a streak of lightning shot out from his hand, aimed straight at the heavenly demon's back. Shining god. The woman widened her eyes in shock as she raised her hand to catch that bolt of lightning. The heavenly demon is already being oppressed in this mystic realm. You will kill him if you do this, the woman rebuked coldly. The shining god did not care. Thunder rolled and countless lightning bolts lit up the sky. Although the shining god was speaking, Yi Qingtang couldn't hear his voice. She only saw the woman's face turn increasingly solemn. In the end, after giving the heavenly demon's hand a tight squeeze, the woman gritted her teeth and flew up into the air to stand beside the shining god. Just as the woman flew up in the sky, a bolt of lightning struck downward and pierced through the heavenly demon's shoulder. Chapter 18:15, Betrayal, 2. Even as the lightning penetrated his shoulder, the heavenly demon didn't move a step but just gritted its teeth and looked up at the woman who had flown up to midair. Shining god. I already agreed to leave with you. How can you break your promise like that? The woman's face turned grim as holy light radiated out of her body. The shining god replied, but Yi Qingtang didn't know what he was saying. Even so, Yi Qingtang could see the woman calming down at his words. The shining god didn't linger on but just left with the woman. Yi Qingtang was also pulled along with the woman back to the temple. Shining god, I promise you that I won't go meet him again. You said that the bolt of lightning was a warning to him. Then let me also give you a warning. If you dare to attack him, you will become my enemy. The woman stood in the temple and stared at the shining god with cold eyes. The heavenly demon's abilities were greatly curbed inside the mystic realm. And this temple was the energy source that powered that restriction. This was also the reason why the true gods were able to imprison the heavenly demons in here. The woman was willing to comply because she knew that the shining god could easily kill the heavenly demon if he wished to do so. Try as she might, there was nothing she could do to stop him. The shining god said something. The woman frowned. I already told you that he is different from the other heavenly demons. I believe in him. It is pure love between the two of us. There is no way he is just making use of me. In this whole world, anyone may be capable of betrayal. However, he is the only exception. I trust him. If he really commits any crime in future, I will bear all consequences. The shining god clearly had no wish to continue arguing with the woman, and he waved her away in the end. The woman took a deep breath and returned to the inner region of the temple. As the woman left, the illusion once again changed. A large group of primordial humans were standing inside the temple. Meanwhile, on the altar, the usually stern-faced shining god looked pallid. There was a gold wine goblet by his seat. The holy light that he usually exuded was clearly weaker now. The leaders of the primordial humans eyed the pale-looking shining god with cold eyes. They no longer gazed at him with respect and awe. Instead, their eyes were filled with ambition and desire. The powers of those primordial humans were far greater than any human that Yi Qingtang had ever met. Their powers were nearly on par to that of the true god. Just a little more, and they could possess enough power to rise above the true gods. The true gods have lorded over us for tens of thousands of years. You created us but put so many restrictions upon us. We will no longer be puppets under your control, the leader of the primordial humans suddenly spoke up. This time, Yi Qingtang could actually hear his voice. But she only heard that one sentence. She couldn't hear the rest of what he was saying. At this point, Yi Qingtang realized that she was witnessing the very moment that the primordial humans allied with the heavenly demons to betray the true gods. There must be some harmful substance inside that wine goblet. Incapacitated, the shining god's face was very grim. He suddenly raised one hand and a holy light engulfed the whole temple. A group of holy temple guards suddenly appeared and charged toward those traitorous humans. Like that, a bloody battle was triggered in that temple, a battle of the legends. At this moment, Yi Qingtang found out just how powerful those primordial humans were. Chapter 18:16, Betrayal, 3. As the battle raged on, the woman suddenly appeared. She counterattacked and forced those primordial humans to back off, before carrying the injured shining god with her as she escaped. This time, Yi Qingtang wasn't pulled along with the woman. She remained standing in the temple, watching the primordial humans massacre the temple guards. She watched as those tall, strapping heavenly demons flew into the temple and exchanged looks with those humans. They seemed to be looking for something. Something that could help them escape the mystic realm. But they couldn't find anything even after searching for a long time. They pursued after the woman and the shining god. The thing they were seeking must be in their hands. Yi Qingtang was led along with them. The dizzying transition forced Yi Qingtang to spend some time recovering to get her bearings again. It was then she saw the woman, who was covered in injuries. The shining god was also there, in the final throes of death. They were surrounded by a group of heavenly demons and primordial humans. The woman was fighting back with all her might but was unable to turn the tables. Shining god, you must hold on. I already sent a signal to the other true gods. They will be arriving soon. The woman stood steadfastly in front of the shining god, not allowing anyone to harm him further. The key that kept the heavenly demons imprisoned in this mystic realm was sealed within the shining god. The key would appear the moment the shining god died. The heavenly demons would be able to escape from this realm once they obtained the key. Only a true god knew of this. No, it can't be him. I never told him about this. Shining god, believe me, the shining god had his own conjectures about how this information had leaked. But the woman refused to believe it was true. With the heavenly demons and primordial humans working together, the woman was unable to hold on much longer. Even up until the very last moment before she died, the woman was still trying her best to protect the shining god. But at that final moment right in front of her eyes, the shining god died from an attack by the leader of the primordial humans. The leader dug out the key from the shining god's body and personally handed it over to the heavenly demon. A frown marred Yi Qingtang's expression. She was feeling very distressed by the scene before her. The primordial humans really did betray the true gods and chose to release the heavenly demons. Yi Qingtang thought everything had come to an end. But right after she saw the woman's body lose its glow, an illusory spectral suddenly rose from her flesh. Isn't this? This is a divine consciousness. Yi Qingtang gazed at the woman's divine consciousness in amazement. Only one who had died with a very strong sense of unfulfillment would leave behind a divine consciousness. Before Yi Qingtang could think more about it, the woman's divine consciousness flew away and Yi Qingtang was pulled along with it. Since the heavenly demons had obtained the key, they immediately returned to the temple to break the seal. The moment the seal was broken, every heavenly demon howled into the sky in ecstasy. They had waited so very, very long for this day. Demon auras surged, engulfing everything in a cacophony of raucous cheers and jubilation. Countless holy light shot down from the sky. Having received the signal, the true gods had hurried over immediately. But it was all too late. The heavenly demons had recovered their full powers and vented their long-suppressed anger on the approaching true gods. Not all the true gods managed to hurry over at the same time, and they were outnumbered by the entire population of heavenly demons trapped within. In the blink of an eye, the entire mystic realm descended into an epic war between the gods and the demons. Chapter 18-17, Right and Wrong, 1. In front of her eyes, Yi Qingtang personally witnessed the brutal war between the gods and the demons. Beams of light flashed across the sky continuously, as day and night merged into one. The heavenly demons and the primordial humans had joined forces, while the true gods were tired out after having rushed to the mystic realm. The true gods started to lose and an increasing number fell dead on the ground. Those primordial humans, who had been created by the true gods and used to worship them, had now become the allies of the heavenly demons. As blood rained down on the battlefield, the primordial humans killed their creators. Yi Qingtang looked at the divine consciousness of that woman as it drifted over the battlefield. Her expression changed from shock to despair. She watched on as her own people died in front of her eyes. Slaughtered by the heavenly demons and those primordial humans whom they had created with their own hands. No one could imagine that those primordial humans, who had worshipped the true gods so ardently, would one day choose to betray them. The woman's eyes filled with a heart-wrenching bitterness and pain. As more and more true gods fell dead, the pain in her eyes was replaced by rage and hatred. She had personally witnessed the awe and respect in the eyes of those primordial humans as they regarded the true God. But these very same primordial humans had betrayed them. Suddenly, a heavenly demon appeared before the woman. The shock on her face when she saw him was palpable. The tall, strapping figure whom she had once relied upon was now standing in the middle of the battlefield, slaughtering the true gods alongside his own brethren. As he stood amidst the ground filled with the fallen dead bodies of the true gods, that tall figure was exceptionally eye-catching. "Why, are you here? You promised me." The woman stared in disbelief at that familiar heavenly demon, her lover. The one whom she was willing to give up her status as a true god for. For him she was willing to stay by his side. He was now stepping amongst the dead bodies of her people, as malevolent as the other heavenly demons. It was as if the final lifeline the woman had been clinging on to had snapped. She watched everything with a numb expression. As a divine consciousness, she was completely unable to do anything to those heavenly demons. She could only watch on as those heavenly demons flew out of the mystic realm. The ground was filled with the dead bodies of the true gods. Meanwhile, those primordial humans had also left the area after their victory. No one knew what that woman was thinking about. As time passed, her divine consciousness became increasingly faint. She instinctively headed toward the temple, which had been completely destroyed in the battle. This devastated building would never regain its former glory. Yi Qingtang followed behind that woman, watching her figure grow increasingly faint. She watched on as the woman entered the underground hall of the temple, passing through those huge doors. Almost unconsciously, Yi Qingtang found herself drawn toward the doors, but the moment she came close, everything started spinning around her. By the time she opened her eyes, she was once again looking at the temple in its current state. That familiar singing voice continued to echo outside the temple. Lava continued to flow down from the sky and flood the great earth. Yi Qingtang recovered her senses and saw Little White Tiger and Little Heavenly Demon observing her curiously. It was only then that she realized the illusion had finally ended. "What happened to you?" Little White Tiger asked as it looked at Yi Qingtang's strange expression. Chapter 18:18, Right and Wrong, 2. With a shake of her head, Yi Qingtang told Little White Tiger about the illusions she had seen. "I guess it is not unreasonable for the true gods to hate humans so much. They never expected the primordial humans, whom they created with their own hands, to betray them like this." Little White Tiger sighed softly. Heavenly demons have always known how to use the power of desire. The moment they discovered the inner desires of those primordial humans, they would have targeted it and used it to entice the humans to do their bidding. At the end of the day, you can say that the true gods created a race that didn't want to be controlled. True gods, heavenly demons, and the primordial humans. The relationship between these three was complicated and capricious. Since Little White Tiger already knew of this piece of history. As a result, it was not shocked by it. Still, Yi Qingtang was puzzled over something. The divine consciousness of the woman she saw in the illusion had nearly faded away toward the end. But she had clearly seen the back profile of that woman previously. And that familiar tune. Even Little White Tiger had heard it. There was no way that it could have been an illusion. Could it be that something had preserved the divine consciousness of that female true god? Yi Qingtang instinctively thought of those doors which she had been unable to pass through. Even now the woman's singing voice could be heard. Fire was still raining down from the sky, rendering them unable to leave. Yi Qingtang was full of questions over what she had just witnessed. In the end, Yi Qingtang decided to carry Little White Tiger and Little Heavenly Demon and follow the route she had seen in the illusion, heading down deeper into the underground palace in the temple. In the illusion, the temple had just been destroyed. As a result, it was still rather bright and clear despite the aftermath of chaos that had occurred. But after the passing of so many years, the inside had become exceptionally dark and dank. As Yi Qingtang ventured toward the underground palace, she realized the route was different from what she saw in the illusion. The tunnel, which had been minimally affected by the destruction, now appeared exceptionally battered. The walls on both sides looked like they had been rammed by a great force, with more than half of the stone carvings shattered and scattered across the ground. As she pushed on ahead, she saw that there was now a large hole in those tightly shut doors. A damp, musty breeze blew gently out of that opening. Yi Qingtang frowned. She used her spirit energy to create a light source to light up the dark underground palace. "I last saw that female true god enter there." Yi Qingtang pointed at the broken door. "This female true god is the woman we met outside earlier?" Little White Tiger asked. "Yes." Yi Qingtang nodded. "Let's go in to take a look." "This is all too strange. Maybe we can find some clues inside," Little White Tiger suggested. Anyway, this temple had already been deserted for tens of thousands of years. It looked like no other living creature had entered this place since, and it all appeared relatively safe. Yi Qingtang cautiously made her way toward the door. With Little White Tiger and Little Heavenly Demon in her arms, she stepped through the opening. The moment she passed through the doors, Yi Qingtang was dumbstruck. Behind those big doors was a dilapidated secret room. The destruction that had occurred in this room was far greater than any other part of the temple. It was impossible to tell what this room had once looked like. It was as if an intense battle had happened in this room. What is this? Little White Tiger noticed a jade platform amidst the ruins. It was covered by a layer of dust. Wasting no time, it jumped on top and blew away the thick layer of dust, which instantly puffed up and stung its eyes. Grr, there's so much dust. Chapter 1819, Right and Wrong, 3, Yi Qingtang stared at Little White Tiger wordlessly. Wasn't it rather obvious what would happen? Why did it have to blow so hard on that dust? But Yi Qingtang soon realized that there was something strange about that jade platform. Everything in this secret room had been destroyed. Yet the jade platform was the only thing that had been preserved in perfect condition. Apart from the layer of dust, there was absolutely no damage on it. There's some kind of notch over there. Little White Tiger gestured one dusty paw towards the center of the platform. Indeed, there was a rather insignificant-looking notch. It looked like a keyhole, and there was a broken key still inserted in it. Yi Qingtang felt that the key looked rather familiar. Had she seen it in the illusion? Perhaps that was why it looked familiar. After the Shining God died, the leader of the primordial humans had dug out the key from the Shining God's body and passed it over to the heavenly demons. Could this be the key that broke the seal? Yi Qingtang frowned slightly. She instinctively reached out to retrieve the broken key. But the moment Yi Qingtang touched the key, a strong wind started swirling around the entire secret room. The scene before Yi Qingtang's eyes suddenly started spinning, before the secret room was taken over by an illusion. At this point, Yi Qingtang finally saw what happened after the female true god went beyond those doors. Two tall, towering heavenly demons stood inside the secret room. This time, Yi Qingtang could clearly hear their voices. Tu Fu, this is all thanks to you. One of the heavenly demons patted the shoulder of the other demon. The heavenly demon named Tu Fu didn't speak but just gave a slight frown. Yi Qingtang found his back view very familiar. Wasn't this the heavenly demon whom the female true god had been in love with? Finally Yi Qingtang was able to see Tu Fu's face. Heavenly demons could change their appearance however they pleased. They could be beautiful and handsome beyond bounds. But most of them chose to look hideous and ferocious. Nevertheless, Tu Fu's face was very good-looking. That passive face held a sliver of gravity. He didn't answer his companion. But doubt rose in Yi Qingtang's mind. Could it be? Did Tu Fu really make use of that woman? Was the love and affection he exhibited purely just a show to take advantage of her? With what she was seeing now, Yi Qingtang couldn't help suspecting what had happened. And whatever she was witnessing now, was naturally also being witnessed by the woman's divine consciousness. In the end, she had been betrayed by the primordial humans whom the true gods had created. Thereafter, she had personally witnessed the death of so many true gods. And now, she was watching her beloved revealing his true side. Yi Qingtang suddenly felt the room darken. She immediately turned to look behind her. As expected, the woman's divine consciousness was standing beside the jade platform. She had seen and heard everything. At this point, a malevolent and hateful expression marred the woman's beautiful face. Those lovely eyes had turned bloodshot, and loud cracking sounds were echoing throughout the entire secret room. One of the heavenly demons saw that something was wrong, and he instinctively reached out to retrieve the key from the jade platform. Chapter 1820, Cursed True God, 1. Although the seal had already been broken, they had no intention of losing that key. After all, it was a holy artifact. But just as the heavenly demon's hand grasped that key, the woman let out a piercing shriek. Countless black swirls of wind as sharp as knives charged straight at that heavenly demon, cutting off the hand that was on the key. The heavenly demon screamed, breaking the key the moment his hand was chopped off. Surprise flashed across his face. Not daring to linger on, he bashed through the doors and flew off. Tu Fu was momentarily startled. He then started to make his escape too. The black swirling wind had engulfed the entire secret room. By then, the woman's divine consciousness was shrouded in rage. Following the betrayal by her beloved, all her hatred and anger had pushed her right to the brink of sanity. Her face became increasingly twisted, and the entire secret room was filled with a black fog. Loud crashes and booms echoed in the room. The immense black fog covered everything from sight. Yi Qingtang could no longer see what was happening. The thunderous booms gradually faded and a sliver of light slowly appeared before her eyes. "What are you seeing now?" Little White Tiger lifted its head to look at Yi Qingtang, who had suddenly gone stiff. Yi Qingtang had also been in this motionless state when she was in that previous illusion in the temple. "I feel like I understand something," Yi Qingtang frowned slightly. She found the woman's raging energy very familiar. She had also felt that sense of danger the moment she stepped into the mystic realm. The primordial humans had betrayed the true gods. They allied themselves with the heavenly demons and slaughtered all the gods. As a result, the grievances and hatred of the cursed true god had engulfed the entire mystic realm upon death. In the illusion, those blooming flowers and vibrant green fields had been swallowed by the power of the cursed true god, leaving behind only the frozen ice fields and the scorched hot lands. Every single human who stepped into this mystic realm would be cursed. Unable to die, yet unable to leave. According to the legend, all the true gods who had hurried over to this mystic realm had perished. But Yi Qingtang never saw a single divine consciousness left behind by any of the fallen true gods. Apart from that female true god. As Yi Qingtang watched the final scene, she watched the woman go insane with anger after being betrayed by her beloved. Following that, a bold notion formed in her mind. Was this woman the cursed true god? If so, was she controlling everything in this mystic realm with that magical melodic voice of hers? Yi Qingtang couldn't help shivering in fear at the thought of this. If she was right, then everything had just become more dangerous. The cursed true god's hatred for humans was at its extreme. In the illusion, Yi Qingtang also saw how this originally loved and blissful woman gradually morphed into the destructive cursed true god. Yi Qingtang felt that she was really lucky to have survived her 2 encounters with the cursed true god. The windstorm in the frozen ice fields and this rain of fire must be the embodiment of the cursed true god's hatred and anger. And yet, even though she was frightened, she also couldn't help feeling sorry for the cursed true god. Who could truly understand the pain and bitterness that the cursed true god had endured from being betrayed twice? Chapter 1821, Cursed True God, 2, the human race, whom they personally created, had betrayed them. Not only that, her beloved heavenly demon had used her. Yi Qingtang had felt rather astonished when she saw the romance between the cursed true god and the heavenly demon, Tu Fu. But now, she couldn't help sighing at the thought of it. By the time Yi Qingtang snapped out of her trance, she saw that the key was already in her hand. Although it was broken and tens of thousands of years had already passed since, Yi Qingtang could still feel the power embedded in the broken remnants of the key. Recalling the illusions she had seen, Yi Qingtang remembered where the other half of the key was. She immediately searched for it under a pile of rubble and found it. Even after tens of thousands of years, the chopped-off hand of that heavenly demon didn't show any signs of decay. It was still holding on to the other half of that key. Yi Qingtang retrieved the piece of key from the heavenly demon's hand. All Yi Qingtang saw at the end of the illusion was a blanket of darkness. She had no idea where Tu Fu had gone. As she considered the 2 halves of the key in her hand, she could detect a faint holy light exuding from the key. A chill traveled down her palm into her body, dispelling the warmth within her. Although the key was broken and she didn't know if it would still be of use in future, it was nonetheless a holy artifact. Yi Qingtang placed it inside her space ring. If she could escape this mystic realm, she might be able to analyze whether this key could still be of any use. If the key was just an instrument to open the seal, there was no reason for the heavenly demon to want to take it away with him. After putting it away, Yi Qingtang scanned the secret room again, trying to see if there was anything else worth noticing. She was stunned when her eyes landed on a corner. An immense black figure was standing in front of a partially collapsed wall. Yi Qingtang was taken aback when she saw the face of that black figure. Tu Fu, that black figure stood there unmoving before the wall. His exquisitely handsome face was completely impassive, as if he was merely sleeping. "This heavenly demon is already dead," Little White Tiger said after just one glance. "Dead?" Yi Qingtang was shocked. "He did something before he died." Little White Tiger motioned at the wall behind Tu Fu. A totem had been drawn on the partially collapsed wall, and Tu Fu was standing right in the center of that totem. "It looks like some kind of heavenly demon ritual. But this totem is too ancient. Even I can't recognize it." Although Little White Tiger studied the totem for a long while, he couldn't decipher it. Was he killed by the cursed true god? Yi Qingtang recalled the final scene in the illusion. "I can't tell. This heavenly demon looks very powerful." Based on what you said before, the cursed true god was only left with a bit of divine consciousness. She might not have been able to kill him, Little White Tiger deduced. Then how did he die? Could he have committed suicide? Yi Qingtang mused. Little White Tiger, a heavenly demon who could bear to take advantage of his lover. He would be mad to commit suicide right after gaining his freedom. Then he was probably killed by the cursed true god. Didn't you say that the cursed true god had gone insane with rage? With so much hatred in her heart, her powers might have been magnified. Little White Tiger changed its tune. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.